When we talk about something being a carbon sink, we're talking about something holding on to carbon. And the lithosphere is a good example of that. It's not the only example, but it's a good one because down in the actual lithosphere, we could have actual deposits of fossil fuels. And near water, okay, near oceans and large bodies of water, okay, the calcium mineral that's in the actual water can bond with atmospheric carbon dioxide and water, and it can create something called calcium carbonate. So on the shores, okay, on the shores, we tend to see the formation of CaCO3, which is a carbon sink. It grabs the carbon. Okay, that's where we see Ca, calcium, bonding to CO2, and it's a reaction with H2O. Okay, and that creates, through a variety of different reactions, that's going to create a calcium carbonate, which is a carbon sink. It traps carbon dioxide. It takes carbon dioxide, okay, that was in the atmosphere and is in the water now, and it takes it out of the water, and it holds onto it, and it makes a mineral out of it. Okay, it makes stone. So these are two huge carbon sinks. Okay, so let's start talking about carbon sources. All right, and we're going to see the relationship here between sources and sinks. We're also going to see how humans impact the carbon cycle. So here we've got our water. Okay, so we've kind of got, this is just an ecosystem, doesn't really matter. But inside this, we've got, okay, one of the first natural sources of carbon is a volcanic eruption here that is going to end up spewing, okay, a lot of smoke, and a lot of that. So when we talk about carbon sources, things that emit carbon, okay, we're going to refer to those on this video in gray. Okay, we're going to look at carbon sinks, which we've already looked at in the lithosphere, but we're also going to look at carbon sources. And a natural source of this, okay, is volcanic eruptions. Every time an eruption occurs and ash and molten rock are spewed out of a volcano, a lot of that smoke has a lot of carbon dioxide in it. Okay, that goes into the atmosphere. Another form of natural, carbon emission comes from forest fires. Okay, so if vegetation is burning, forests are a carbon source, okay, only when they burn. So forest fires here, forest fires are a carbon source, right? Because they're going to emit a lot of CO2. But forests themselves, natural actual forests that are not burning, are known as a carbon sink because those natural things are made of carbon. Trees are full of carbon. Okay, it's one of the building blocks of the cell wall of all plants, and we know that if you're a tree, you've got a lot of cells. So a natural, healthy forest, vegetation, is a carbon source. Another reason that it's looked upon as being an actual carbon source is because of the fact that vegetation also does what? It undergoes photosynthesis. And we know that photosynthesis is the taking of carbon dioxide and water with the help of sun energy to create glucose, to create sugar. Okay? So there's one of our sinks, our natural sinks. A forest or vegetation is a natural carbon sink. It absorbs carbon. Okay? It reduces the amount of atmospheric carbon on a daily basis because plants photosynthesize from the moment the sun comes up till the moment it goes down. Okay, they've actually evolved to be pretty good at that, right? Living organisms, on the other hand, living organisms here breathe out CO2, don't they? So these living organisms, through the process of cellular respiration, are going to be carbon sources. You and we're carbon sources. We take in oxygen. Through cellular respiration, we emit carbon dioxide. Humans and animals are not emitting actually that much carbon dioxide. Okay, if we compare the amount of carbon dioxide we emit to, let's say, the forest fire that occurred in, Fort McMurray, it doesn't even compare. Okay? This right here, this used to be a really nice little balance here. And occasionally you'd have this guy and this guy throwing stuff in, but we know that volcanic eruptions and forest fires are not a common occurrence. Okay, they're not constantly happening. So this is a really nice medium. But what happens here? Why is it not just these two arrows anymore?
Because humans decided to take over and ruin everything.
Well, it's not that we've decided to take over and ruin everything, but the human impacts on the carbon cycle are really, really present. Okay? Through industrial burning of fossil fuels, right? Through motor use, so transportation, whether it's planes, boats, trains, cars, we are emitting a lot of carbon dioxide. Factory use, okay, the generation of electricity is also emitting a tremendous amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So if I've got my buildings here, and I'm just going to draw them right next to the volcano. Yeah, they're about to be flattened by the... and here's my smokestack, and whoa. Okay, I'd even draw a little car here. I don't know how it's going to fit.
Oh my God.
It's a terrible car, but that's okay. These cars are also emitting carbon dioxide. Okay, so we know that we've got a lot of carbon sinks. Unfortunately, we don't have as many carbon sinks as we have carbon sources. Okay, because our carbon sinks here, all right, some carbon dioxide is going into the atmosphere, and fossil fuels can also be a carbon sink. They can hold on to actual carbon until they're burned. Okay, and if they stay in the ground, they don't get burned. It's as soon as we actually extract them from the ground and we use them as oil products. Okay? So when you look at this, in your textbook on page 256, 257, there are 9 different points of things going on in this carbon cycle. Okay, I expect you to know the carbon sinks and the carbon sources. I expect you to know what absorbs carbon and uses it and traps it, what captures carbon, takes it out of the atmosphere, but I also expect you to know not just humans and machines, but I expect you to know some natural sources of carbon dioxide emittance, okay, as well. We are